Hey, algebra students, here we are in chapter 2, and we're looking at probability, simple probability, and odds. So today we're going to talk about probability, and one concept around probability that we need to discuss is just what is probability, and it's really just the likelihood of an event occurring. And when we talk about probability, for us, we're going to be talking about simple events. So we're talking about things like flipping a coin, um, uh, rolling a die, things that are not particularly complicated. Either it's going to happen or not happen. And when I'm talking about a die, I'm talking about like a six-sided die with, the 1, 2, 6 dots on each of the six faces. Sample space refers to all of the possible things that can happen, or all of the possible outcomes. And when we talk about equally likely, it's the idea that the probability of something happening is basically 50-50. It could happen. There's equally likely, I'm equally likely to go to the store as I am to go to the library. So the probability of it happening is 1 out of 2. Odds refers to the ratio of something happening to something not happening. So the ratio of, so basically like the outcome versus the failure of the outcome. So let's think, if I were to say, the odds of me, randomly coming to my home and selecting one of my children and picking a boy would be 3 to 1 because I've got 3 boys, that's the outcome, and 1 girl. And if I pick the girl, if I pick my daughter, that would be failure for the desired outcome of picking a boy. Does that make sense? Or if my goal was to pick a girl and I said the odds of me picking a girl in my household would be 1 to 3, meaning 1 in favor of the thing that I want, 1 girl out of 4 children, but 3 boys, so 1 to 3. Does that kind of make sense? So this is a little bit different than probability. So if I were going to talk about the probability of if I were to randomly pick the daughter out of my 4 kids, it would be 1 out of 4, right? 1 child out of 4 fits the criteria of being a young lady, whereas odds is a little bit different. It's not comparing the outcome to the entire sample space. It's comparing the outcome towards with the failure of the outcome, right? Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If you need clarity, please let me know. And let's take a look at this right here. So this is how we talk about, this is a key concept. This is how we talk about probability. The probability of an event A occurring is going to be the number of favorable outcomes over the total number of possible outcomes. So all the ways that the thing I want can occur, all that number would be on the top with the total number of possible outcomes at the bottom. And I think an example might be helpful in looking at that. And here's a description of, we were talking about odds just a moment ago, but we'll get back to it as we look at some examples. So let's look at example 1. Find probabilities of simple events. Find the probability of rolling an even number on a die. So let's think about what that looks like. We know that a die is a 6-sided cube that when you roll it, it's got a choice of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And so when we talk about an even number, we are referring to either 2, 4, or 6. So what is the probability of that happening? So what we remember from this little chart at the that little key concept earlier, that the probability of rolling an even number is going to be the desired outcome. So the number of ways that the desired outcome can occur. So I've got 1, 2, 3 different ways for that to occur over the entire different possible outcomes, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the probability would be 3 out of 6, which can be reduced comfortably to 1 out of 2. So the probability of rolling an even number is 1/2, which makes sense just looking at the numbers. Let's go ahead and take a look at this part. A bowl containing 5 red chips, 7 blue chips, and 6 yellow chips, and 10 green chips. So a bowl contains this. 1 chip is randomly drawn. Find the probability of blue. So the probability of selecting a blue chip would be, well, how many different blue chips are in the bowl? Looks like there's 7. So I'm going to put 7 at the top. What is the total number of possible things that can happen? Well, I've got 5 red chips, 7 blue chips, 6 yellow chips. So far that's 18, is it right? 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 6 is 18, plus another 10 is 28. So that's 7 things could happen out of the 28 possible things that can happen. 7 things that I desire, right? 7 different ways to pull a blue chip. And that's out of 28 different things that can happen. And of course, I can reduce that to 1/4. So the probability of selecting a blue chip is 1 out of 4. Let's look at part C. So a bowl contains 5 red chips, 7 blue chips, 6 yellow chips, and 10 green chips. Same bowl apparently. 1 chip is randomly selected. Find the probability of picking a red or a yellow. So either red or yellow are cool. So now probability of R or Y, I'm being a little lazy, would be the total sum of red chips, which is 5, plus the total sum of yellow chips, which is 6. So that's 11 different possibilities that would satisfy my desire over the 28 that we had before. And so this is not reducible, so the probability is 11 out of 28. Again, we're dealing with this bowl of chips. Wish they were edible chips. That's personal. Anyway, a bowl of chips, 5 red, 7 blue, 6 yellow, and 10 green. And 1 chip is randomly drawn. Find the probability of not green. So the probability of not green, negation green, not green, is going to be, well, what are all the possibilities? We see that there are 10 green chips, and we know that in total, the whole possible is 28 chips. So if there's 10 green chips, then if I subtract 28 minus 10, I know that there's 18 other things that can occur and not get green. And so the probability of not green is 18 out of 28. I can reduce that to 9 out of 14. And that's my final answer. So that's probability. So we talked about odds. Odds is the ratio between successes and failures. And so find the odds of rolling a number less than 3. And again, we're thinking about the a die. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the possibilities. Find the odds of rolling a number less than 3. Numbers less than 3 are going to be these guys here. So the odds would be 2, 2, 4. So my odds are 2 to 4. Where, this 2 refers to the 2 possibilities that make sense and the 4, or that satisfy what I'm looking for. And 4 refers to the 4 possibilities that don't, so successes and failures. And of course, I can write this as 2 to 4 like this, which lets me know that I can reduce it, that it's a 1 out of 2 1 to 2. I shouldn't say 1 out of 2, a 1 to 2 situation. I'm going to write it like this as well. 1 to 2 would be the odds of rolling a number that is less than 3. Odds against an event. So here, a card is selected at random from a standard deck of 52 cards. What are the odds against selecting a 3? Well, if you know a deck of cards, you've got 52 cards, you're going to have 4 threes, like a 3 of hearts, 3 of diamonds, 3 of clubs, and 3 of spades. So what are the odds against it? So I'm concerned about not picking a 3. So I know that there are 52 cards and there are 4 threes. So that means there are 48 ways to not, right? 48 minus 4, 52 minus 4 gives me 48. So 48 ways of not selecting a 3 and 4 ways of selecting a 3. So again, the 48 refers to the number of different cards that are not 3, and 4 refers to the number of cards that are 3. So 48 ways to not select 3 and 4 ways to select 3. I can write that as 48 over 4, which can be reduced to 12 over 1. So there's a 12 to 1 odds of not selecting 3. Okay, let's see what we got. Probability and odds. Here we go. A weather forecast states that the probability of rain the next day is 40%. What are the odds that it will rain? So if there's a 40% chance of rain, that means 40 out of 100%, right? And so now this is probability. This is probability of rain. This is not odds. Remember, odds refers to success and failure. So if there's a 40% chance of rain, right, then there's a 60% chance of no rain. And so I can reduce this 4 to 6, which reduces 2 to 3. It's a 2 to 3 chance that there will be rain. Or I could say the odds are 2 to 3 of rain tomorrow. I'm hoping this all makes sense. As usual, please feel free to contact me. Let me know if it's not making sense or if you're feeling a little uncomfortable, and I can try to re-explain if you'd like. Please make sure and try all the problems that I assign. I know sometimes it might seem onerous, but do the best you can. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.